So the first book I'm going to recommend in this new section of recommendations that I'm going to do is Alex Rider's Stormbreaker. This is the first book in the series and it's really nice. Now I love James Bond, but I find he's a little bit full of himself, and the girls have a little mediocre or token part to play, which I don't like as a bit of a feminist, if you like. But what I like about Alex Rider is he shows that being a spy agent is not as easy as it seems. It's full of mistakes. He's not happy with it, and he actually spends a lot of time trying to quit. So he doesn't have that ego, and it makes him really endearing, and it's also action-packed and fun and exciting. So you've got all that Mission Impossible and James Bond side to it, but with that humble teenage awkwardness of struggling to, I guess, just it's more real to me. I think it's really real, and I liked that about the series. So Alex is a 14-year-old English boy raised by his uncle because his parents are dead. And at the start of the book, his uncle dies. And then they notice that he has potential and they see something in him. And they ask him to come and work with them and help them finish the mission that his uncle was working on. But Alex is so good naturally that they then kind of keep him and trap him into this spy situation so that he has to keep going. But he isn't happy with that. He's not a James Bond arrogant person. He is like awkward, wants to be a normal boy. And yeah, it's really, the emotions and the tense situation that he's in is really fascinating, where you're being punished for being good at something, but he doesn't really want to keep doing it, so he keeps trying to quit. And it's really an interesting read, and I don't want to say too much more about it and give it away. So I'm going to, for anyone who wants to stay on and listen, I'm going to read a part from it. The only thing I will say that I wasn't too impressed with is that there is not a big female part in the book. So it's a male author. It's all about males, which is great because it's obviously going to bring male readers in and engage the younger male generation. But I don't think that I think he could have pulled in some stronger female characters in that first book. And now they do come in later in the series, which I'll go into later on, and he does get some nice female characters in and brings them in later on. And I guess it's like all authors, with your first book, you stick with what you know, you stick with what you're comfortable with, and he's a man and he's comfortable with that. I've struggled in my book actually with writing from a twin boy and girl part, and I've just been grateful that I've had a twin, a son who's been able to help me understand the male side more. Because if you're a male author, I think you probably write more easily for a male audience, and if you're a female author, I think you probably write more easily for a female audience. I think it's quite an art to be able to write for both audiences, and I'm not saying that I have an art for that. I just have a twin son and daughter who has helped me achieve that. So that's my only not so positive comment on the book, is that I would like to see some strong female characters in there as well, not just strong male characters. But that's just me, because I like equality and I like to have both in there. But I loved it. I love Alex Rider. Bought it for my son. He didn't get engaged with it as much as my daughter did. She loved it far more than he did, funnily enough. So maybe I'm wrong on the female character part. So if you want to stay on, I'm going to read a part from it for you. Okay, so I'm going to read a part of this because I think it's really fascinating. Now, I'm just going to read one sentence from one chapter because I think it's a really brilliant opening sentence. So well done to the author for writing such a fantastic opening line to this chapter. So the chapter title is "So What Do You Say?" And the first sentence is, "Alex opens his eyes, so he was still alive. That was a nice surprise." So I like that one. But the paragraph I'm going to read you from here is from later on, page 139, for those who do start to read this, so you know where I am. Alex knew he was in danger, the same way an animal does. There was no need to ask why or how. Danger was simply there, and even as the dark shape appeared, crashing through the grass, he was throwing himself to one side, knowing too late now, that it was that he had been wrong about the second footpath sign. It had been brand new. The first sign, the one that had led him off the road, had been weather-beaten and old. Someone had deliberately led him away from the correct path and brought him here. The killing field. He hit the ground and rolled into a ditch on one side. The vehicle burst through the grass, its front wheels almost touching his head. Alex caught a glimpse of a squat black thing with 4 fat tyres, a cross between a miniature tractor and a motorbike. It was being ridden by a hunched-up figure in grey leathers with helmet and goggles. Then it was gone, thudding down into the grass on the other side of him and disappearing instantly, as if a curtain had been drawn. So if you liked that, you'll like Alex Rider. Highly recommend it. Both my son and daughter adored it. Kudos to the author. Absolutely love your series. I personally think it's far better than Mission Impossible and James Bond.